All right, we get up there again. Feeling good today. Feeling springy. I'm pretty happy so far. I'm excited. What's up, guys? We're back with episode 2 of this journey where we're going to lay out the whole phase 1 of trying to dunk a basketball. This phase we're calling Build the Base, and it's all about nailing down the prerequisites for explosive power, because everybody knows that you can't shoot a cannon out of a canoe. When we think of building a stable base, there's 3 pillars that we have to take care of, and number 1 is the trunk. Building a stable trunk is super important because it sets the foundation for us to be explosive as possible. We have to recognize that the first role of the trunk is to stabilize unwanted motion of the spine. This is a built-in protection mechanism because our spine houses some pretty valuable hardware in the spinal cord. If your trunk is not doing its job to stabilize the spine, your brain won't let you express power out of fear of becoming injured. Your muscles and your nervous system are reaching out to your brain, and your brain is telling them, "You're just not ready for this, man." Now, when I say building a strong and stable trunk, I don't mean hours of crunches and planks. For a stable trunk, we need to create stability out of unstable positions. Fortunately for us, once you're able to build these strength in unstable positions, you unlock a strong and reflexive spine that is going to give you the key to an explosive athlete. Pillar number 2 is the hips. The hips are the driver of explosive power, and it's often what separates explosive athletes from non-explosive athletes. And you might be surprised how many athletes have a hard time activating their hips. If you truly want to transform your explosiveness, you have to make the hips a top priority. They have to be mobile and stable, as well as strong and powerful. There's a lot to master here, but once you attack the hips with a well-rounded approach, your athleticism can reach new heights. When we talk about explosive hips, we're really speaking about hip extension. And when you say this to an athlete, they often think about the glutes. And while the glutes have a huge role to play in hip extension, so do the hamstrings and the adductor magnus. Powerful and explosive hip extension really is a whole team effort, and therefore we must attack it in this integrated and holistic approach. Powerful hips are important, and they're absolutely a prerequisite to being able to jump high. But if all that force you produce in the hips does not reach the floor in an efficient manner, then it's completely pointless. This brings us to pillar number 3, which is often undertrained in many athletes, and that is the feet and the ankle complex. Now, we have to remain mindful that the body is a kinetic chain, and the weakest link dictates the expression of power. For many athletes, the weakest link is the feet and ankles. If you lack functional strength and stiffness in the feet and ankles, you're leaving plenty of gains on the table. Now, we absolutely must build strength and stiffness in the foot and ankle complex to be able to express power, but we also need tissue resiliency for injury prevention. And for this, we've added a ton of extensive plyometrics to this program because we're going to be jumping so much over the next 16 to 20 weeks. We want to take care of those tendons and make sure that we don't derail this journey by being stupid about our programming. Now, to tie this all together, this first phase of building the base is all about isolating these 3 pillars, building the strength and robustness of each of them in isolation before we bring them back together and train them as a whole unit in the phases to follow. Now, deconstructing the jump into these 3 pillars and building strength in isolation is only half of the equation. When we think about building the base for an elite vertical jump, we must think about force absorption and rate of force absorption. Now, force absorption ability quite simply comes down to eccentric strength. How much force can your muscles produce while they're lengthening? This will be the lowering portion of that vertical jump. The second half of this equation, rate of force absorption, is essentially how fast can your nervous system turn your muscles on to accept that force and produce it in the opposite direction. Because the quicker you can absorb force, the more of it you can store and transition it in the opposite direction. This part is absolutely essential if you want to build an elite vertical jump. Now, at the end of the day, this build the base phase is absolutely an essential component to building an elite athlete and an explosive vertical jump. But I want you guys to understand that this is just the tip of the iceberg. There is so much more to this journey. So stay tuned for episode 3, where I'm going to update you on my progress from this journey, let you in on a few lessons that I've learned, and show you where we're heading in phase 2 of this program. I'll catch you guys on the next one.